Chosen one, God has sent you here for a reason. This is not a coincidence. You have been searching, waiting, wondering when your moment would come. And here it is. The message you are about to receive is not just words, it is a divine revelation. A shift in the spirit. A confirmation that what has been delayed in your life is now coming to pass. For so long, you have endured solitude, betrayal, rejection. You have walked this path with a heavy heart, questioning why those you once trusted abandoned you, why love turned into loss, why your prayers seemed unanswered. But hear this, chosen one, your season of waiting is over. No more loneliness, no more confusion, no more asking why. God has decided, and His decision is final. The chains that have kept you bound in isolation, in uncertainty, in emotional turmoil, they're breaking right now. This is your moment of release. Your breakthrough, the long-awaited shift that will transform everything. Before we go any further, take a moment to acknowledge this truth. Hit the like button to activate this message in your life. Subscribe so that you never miss another divine revelation. And type 777 in the comments. Because this number is a sign of completion, a confirmation that what was once delayed is now being fulfilled. If you are truly chosen, you will stay until the very end. Because your spirit already knows, this message is for you. Have you ever felt unseen? Like the world is moving on without you. As if you are merely a shadow in the background? You try to connect, to be understood, yet it seems as if people pass you by, unable to see the depth of who you truly are. But let me tell you something. Chosen one, God sees you. He has seen every tear you have cried in silence, every moment of rejection you have endured, every time you felt unworthy or forgotten. And He has not abandoned you. The isolation you have experienced was never meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. In the book of Psalms, David cried out to God, saying, "Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble?" Psalm chapter 10.1. But even in his desperation, David knew one thing: God never truly leaves His chosen ones. He may allow a season of solitude, but it is only to build strength, to refine your faith, to separate you from what is not meant for you so that He can bring you into alignment with what is. This is why the people who walked away from you had to leave. They were not meant to go where God is taking you. The rejection you faced was not a punishment, it was divine protection. And now, those who once turned their backs on you will witness the transformation God is about to bring into your life. They will see how the favor of the Lord lifts you. They will see the blessings that have been stored up for you. They will watch as God restores what was lost, heals what was broken, and elevates you to a place they never imagined. It is written in Deuteronomy chapter 28.13, "The Lord will make you the head, not the tail." If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. Chosen one, this is your season of elevation. For too long, you have felt like you were at the bottom, struggling, overlooked, undervalued, but God is shifting your position. You are about to be lifted. The same people who dismissed you will soon recognize your worth. The same ones who mocked you will marvel at how God has moved in your life. The tables are turning, and you will no longer be ignored. You have been faithful in your suffering, steadfast in your trials, and because of that, God is about to pour out His favor upon you in ways that will shock even those closest to you. Prepare yourself, because the blessings coming are not small. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus said, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap." Luke chapter 6.38. This is the kind of blessing that is coming your way. Not a small portion, not just enough, an overflow, a breakthrough so powerful that it will restore everything the enemy tried to take from you. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, you are stepping into abundance. But hear me, chosen one, before the blessings come, before the breakthrough manifests, you must understand this one thing. You cannot take everyone with you. Not everyone who was part of your past is meant to be part of your future. There are people who left you in your hardest moments, people who dismissed your pain, who betrayed your trust, who could not see the greatness inside of you. Do not chase after them. God has already removed them for a reason. When Jesus healed the blind man in Bethsaida, He took him out of the village before restoring his sight. Mark 8.23-25. Why? Because not everyone around you is meant to witness your transformation. Some people are comfortable with your blindness. Some people only want to be around you when you are weak, when you are struggling, when you are dependent on them. But now that God is opening your eyes, now that He is elevating you, they will no longer be able to hold you back. Let them go. Because what God is bringing into your life now is greater than anything you have ever lost. The relationships that are being restored are divinely appointed. The love that is coming your way is God ordained. The financial breakthrough that is unfolding is heaven sent. And the people who once ignored you, they will have no choice but to recognize that you were chosen all along. In the story of Joseph, his own brothers betrayed him, threw him into a pit, and sold him into slavery. But years later, when Joseph had risen to power in Egypt, those same brothers had to come before him, humbled and in need of his help. Genesis chapter 50.20. What they meant for evil, God turned for good. And the same is happening in your life. What was meant to destroy you will be the very thing that elevates you. The betrayal, the rejection, the loneliness, it was all part of God's plan to position you for the blessings He is about to release. Chosen one, your time of suffering is over. Your season of waiting has come to an end. Everything you have prayed for, everything you have believed for, everything you have cried for in the secret place, it is being released now. The doors that were once closed are opening. The relationships that were broken are being restored. The love you thought you lost forever is finding its way back to you. This is not just another message. This is your divine confirmation. Get ready, because what's coming next will change everything. Type 777 in the comments if you receive this. Your breakthrough is here. Chosen one, this is your moment. The shift you have been waiting for is happening right now. For too long, you have been in a season of stillness, a place where it felt like your prayers were unheard. Where the people who once stood beside you walked away. Where you felt unseen, unnoticed, and unappreciated. But listen carefully. God has spoken. The waiting season is over. Everything that has been delayed is now aligning. Every tear you shed, every night you spent wondering why your life seemed stuck while others moved forward, it was all leading to this moment. Have you ever noticed how, before a great transformation, there is often a period of silence? A moment where it feels like nothing is happening, like everything is at a standstill? That silence was not emptiness, it was preparation. God was moving even when you couldn't see it. Just as He moved in the life of Joseph, allowing him to be thrown into a pit and sold into slavery, only to later elevate him to the highest position in Egypt. He has been preparing you for something greater. The rejection you faced? It was never about your worth. The silence? It was never about being forgotten. The pain? It was never a punishment. It was all part of God's divine setup to place you exactly where you were meant to be. There are people who walked out of your life, thinking they had won. They dismissed you. They assumed you were nothing without them. But they didn't realize they were walking away from someone God had already chosen for something greater. And now, those same people who doubted you, who rejected you, who turned their backs on you, they are about to witness your rise. Because when God decides it's time to elevate you, nothing and no one can stop it. It is written in Isaiah chapter 60.22. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. This is that time. Your restoration is here. There is a weight that comes with being chosen. It is not an easy journey. Many are called, but few are chosen. And the path of the chosen one is not filled with comfort, it is filled with refining. Moses was chosen, yet he spent years in the wilderness. David was chosen, yet he was pursued by enemies before taking his rightful place. Jesus was chosen, yet he was mocked, betrayed, and crucified. The chosen ones do not walk an easy road, but the road always leads to something greater. And now, after all that you have endured, your breakthrough is manifesting. Look around you. The signs are everywhere. The relationships that were once strained are beginning to shift. The financial burdens that seemed impossible are starting to lift. The dreams that felt distant are now within reach. Everything that felt like it was working against you is now working for you. It is written in Romans chapter 8.28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. This is why you had to go through what you went through. If everything had been easy, you wouldn't have grown. If people had never left, you wouldn't have learned who was truly meant to stay. If you had never been rejected, you wouldn't have discovered the power of God's acceptance. The pain was not without purpose. And now, the season of hardship is transitioning into a season of abundance. Watch closely. You are about to see a shift in the way people treat you. Those who overlooked you will suddenly start to notice you. Those who once mocked you will begin to admire you. Those who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge the power of God in your life. Because this is not just a moment of elevation, this is a divine revelation. Everything that has been hidden will be revealed. Everything that was stolen will be restored. Everything that was lost will be found. The same people who left you behind will try to return. The same ones who said you wouldn't make it will be the first to congratulate you. But this time, you will walk in discernment. This time, you will recognize who is truly meant to be part of your next chapter. This time, you will not lower yourself to fit into places that no longer align with where God is taking you. Because you have been changed. This journey has reshaped you, refined you, strengthened you, and now, you are stepping into a season where you will no longer be overlooked. No longer be disrespected, no longer be dismissed. You are stepping into a season where God is placing you at the forefront. Where the favor on your life will be undeniable. Where the blessings will overflow. The same God who turned water into wine. Who fed thousands with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Who raised the dead to life. He is moving in your life right now. You may not see it yet. But trust this, it is happening, even in this very moment. As you take in this message, something inside you is shifting. A confirmation, a knowing, a deep realization that this is not just another message. This is your wake-up call. Because what's coming next will be so unexpected, so overwhelming, so undeniable that you will look back at this moment and realize, God was preparing you all along. You were never alone. You were never forgotten. You were always chosen. And now, it's time. Do you feel it? The shift that is happening. The unseen hand of God moving things in your favor? It is no longer a question of if, it is already unfolding. For so long, you have endured seasons of waiting, uncertainty, and solitude. You have walked through valleys where it seemed like no one saw your struggle. Where your prayers echoed back in silence. But hear me, God was never silent. He was working. There is something about the chosen ones. They do not walk the same path as others. They are tested, refined, separated. And that separation? It wasn't a punishment. It was a divine strategy. You had to be set apart so that when the time came, there would be no mistake. It was God who elevated you. Look at the life of Joseph. Betrayed by his own brothers. Sold into slavery. Imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. To the outside world, Joseph looked like he was forgotten. But God was preparing him. Every hardship, every betrayal, every moment of loneliness was positioning him for something greater. And when the time came, when God's divine moment of elevation arrived, Joseph was not just restored, he was placed in a position of power that no man could take away. Do you see the pattern? Your suffering was not in vain. Your rejection was not meaningless. Your isolation was not a mistake. It was the groundwork for what is happening right now. And just as Joseph's brothers had to return to him, humbled and seeking his help, the people who doubted you, who turned their backs on you, who dismissed you, they will return. But this time, you will not be the same person they left. The wounds that once held you down have now become the marks of strength. The tears you cried in secret have watered the soil for your harvest. The nights of loneliness have birthed a spirit so unshakable that no storm can move you. And now, the very ones who once rejected you will have no choice but to recognize that you were chosen all along. This is the moment where everything shifts. Think back to the times when you felt lost, when you felt invisible. Do you remember the pain of it? The feeling of watching others move forward while you were stuck? That moment was necessary, because what God is bringing you into now is so great that you needed preparation. You needed time to build. You needed time to heal. You needed time to grow into the person who could handle the blessings that are now coming your way. This is not just about restoration. This is about elevation. Because when God restores, He does not simply return what was lost, He multiplies it. In the book of Job, after Job had lost everything, his family, his wealth, his health, God did not just bring him back to where he was before. He gave him twice as much as he had lost. Double for the trouble. A divine compensation. And this, chosen one, is what you are stepping into now. The relationships that are coming back into your life, they will be stronger. The financial blessings that are unfolding, they will be greater than you expected. The respect and recognition that is manifesting, it will be undeniable. This is the moment when you realize, Everything was happening for you, not to you. All those times you questioned why things weren't working, why you faced betrayal, why people left, it was because God was positioning you for something beyond what you could see at the time. It is written in Isaiah chapter 61:7, "Instead of your shame you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace you will rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours." You are stepping into your double portion. No longer will you be the one who is overlooked. No longer will you be the one struggling in silence. No longer will you be the one waiting while others receive. Because the waiting season is over. There is an urgency in the spirit right now. Things are aligning faster than you imagined. Doors that seemed shut forever are opening effortlessly. Opportunities you once thought were lost are resurfacing. And the people who left? They are realizing what they walked away from. But here's what you must understand. Not everyone is meant to come back. Some people were removed for a reason. Some relationships had to end because they were limiting what God was trying to do in your life. When Jesus entered a town to perform miracles, he often sent away those who did not believe. Not because he couldn't perform miracles, but because the presence of doubt can hinder what God is trying to release. This is why certain people had to leave. Because if they had stayed, they would have blocked the very blessings that are now on their way to you. So now, as you step into this season of restoration, walk in discernment. The enemy would love nothing more than to pull you back into old patterns, old cycles, old relationships that are not meant for where God is taking you. But you must stand firm. Because this time, you will not just be blessed, you will be positioned. Positioned for influence. Positioned for abundance. Positioned for divine connections that will elevate you beyond anything you could have built on your own. The time of questioning is over. You do not need to wonder anymore if you are on the right path. You do not need to second guess whether God is hearing you. Because this is your confirmation. You were not forgotten. You were not abandoned. You were set apart. And now, everything that has been promised is coming to pass. Are you ready? Because what's coming next will change everything. Can you feel it? The shift is happening even now. You may not see it fully yet, but your spirit knows something has changed. The heaviness that once sat on your heart is lifting. The confusion that once clouded your mind is clearing. The loneliness that once surrounded you is breaking apart. Because this is not just a season of change, this is a season of fulfillment. For so long, you have been waiting for the answers, waiting for the breakthrough, waiting for the moment when everything aligns. And now, that moment is here. What was once delayed is now accelerating. What was once hidden is now being revealed. What was once stolen is now being restored. And the ones who once dismissed you? They are about to see the undeniable hand of God moving in your life. But understand this blessing, this elevation, this divine restoration, it was never about proving yourself to them. It was never about making those who doubted you regret their choices. It was always about something bigger. It was about positioning you. Because you were never just meant to survive, you were meant to lead. Every hardship, every rejection, every closed door was designed to push you toward your true calling. The enemy tried to break you. He tried to convince you that you were alone, forgotten, left behind. But the truth? God was setting you apart. Set apart for something greater. Set apart for a purpose that others could not see. Set apart so that when the blessings arrived, there would be no doubt. It was the hand of God that brought you here. Look at the story of Esther. A young woman, taken from her home, placed in a palace she never expected to enter. She was surrounded by people who did not understand her, who did not know her worth. Yet, in the midst of it all, God was preparing her. And when the time came, she was not just blessed, she was positioned to save an entire nation. Chosen one, your blessing is not just for you. It is for those who will be impacted by your journey. It is for the ones who will look at your testimony and find strength in their own struggles. It is for the lives you are meant to touch, the hearts you are meant to heal, the spirits you are meant to uplift. This is why you had to go through what you went through. This is why the rejection had to happen. This is why the loneliness was necessary. Because God was molding you into someone who would not just be blessed, but someone who could carry the weight of the blessing. And now, the time has come. You are stepping into a season where the things that once felt impossible are becoming effortless. The doors that once required you to beg for entrance are now swinging open on their own. The relationships that were once strained beyond repair are now mending in ways only God could orchestrate. But hear me, this is not a return to the past. This is not about going back to the way things were. This is about stepping into something completely new. Because you are not the same person you were before. The pain changed you. The waiting transformed you. The isolation refined you. And now, when people look at you, they will see someone different. Someone stronger. Someone wiser. Someone who knows their worth. Who no longer settles. Who no longer begs for love, respect, or validation. Because they now understand that everything they need is already within them. Placed there by God Himself. It is written in 2 Corinthians chapter 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here. This is your confirmation. The old has gone. The version of you that was overlooked, underestimated, and taken for granted, that person no longer exists. The new has come. The version of you that is stepping forward now is walking in confidence, in faith, in divine authority. And because of that, the world around you is shifting. The people who once ignored you are now recognizing your value. The blessings that once seemed far away are now flowing into your life effortlessly. The love that once felt unattainable is now being drawn to you like a magnet. Because when you step into who you truly are, when you step into your divine calling, the things that were always meant for you have no choice but to come. They cannot stay away. They cannot be blocked. They cannot be delayed. This is why you are seeing the changes now. This is why things that once took years are now happening in days. This is why connections that once felt impossible are now forming in ways you never imagined. Because the time of preparation is over. You are ready. Ready for the abundance. Ready for the elevation. Ready for the divine restoration that has been promised to you since the beginning of time. And nothing, no person, no force, no situation, can stop what God has already set into motion. You are no longer waiting. You are walking in it now. Chosen one, this is your moment. Something powerful is happening. You can feel it. The air around you is shifting. The weight on your spirit is lifting. And the very fabric of your reality is bending to the will of God. This is not your imagination. This is not just another passing thought. This is divine alignment. For years, you have prayed for this moment. You have cried out to God, asking when your time would come, when the doors would finally open, when the pain would finally make sense. And now, it is unfolding before your very eyes. What once felt distant is now within reach. What once seemed impossible is now becoming effortless. What once required struggle is now flowing into your life with divine ease. Because this is what happens when you step into your appointed season. For so long, you have been walking through the wilderness of unanswered prayers, the wilderness of rejection, the wilderness of feeling unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. But the wilderness was never meant to be your final destination. It was a place of preparation. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading his people to the promised land. David spent years running, hiding, and waiting before he finally took his throne. Jesus himself spent 40 days in the wilderness before stepping into his divine mission. And you? Your time in the wilderness was never wasted. It was in that solitude that you were refined. It was in that silence that you were strengthened. It was in that suffering that you were shaped. And now, the wilderness is behind you. Now, you are stepping into your promised land. Can you feel it? The weight that once held you down is no longer there. The doubts that once clouded your mind are fading. The loneliness that once tormented your soul is dissolving. Because God is moving. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Right now. Look around. The signs are everywhere. The right people are being drawn to you. The right opportunities are opening. The right doors are unlocking. What was once closed is now accessible. What was once lost is now being restored. What was once taken is now being returned tenfold. This is not just a new chapter. This is a new book. The story that once defined you is over. The version of you that was struggling, questioning, wondering, that person no longer exists. This is the new you. This is the anointed you. This is the favored you. And this time, you will not shrink yourself to fit into places that no longer align with your spirit. This time, you will not lower your standards to make others comfortable. This time, you will walk boldly in your purpose, knowing that God Himself has cleared the way for you. It is written in Isaiah chapter 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. This is your new thing. No more waiting. No more wondering. No more questioning if you are worthy of the blessings coming your way. You are ready. And because you are ready, everything is aligning. The relationships that will honor you, they are finding you. The financial blessings that will sustain you, they are coming to you. The opportunities that will elevate you, they are unfolding before you. You are not chasing. You are attracting. Because when you step into divine alignment, everything that is meant for you has no choice but to come. Not because of luck. Not because of coincidence. Because God said so. And when God speaks, the universe obeys. When God commands, everything shifts. And He has declared that your time is now. There is no going back. There is no settling for less. There is only forward. Only growth. Only elevation. Chosen one, this is your moment. And nothing can stop what is already written. Chosen one, take a deep breath. Feel it. The shift is complete. What you have been sensing, what your spirit has been whispering to you, it is here. The struggle, the waiting, the feeling of being overlooked, dismissed, unseen, it is over. This is your season of fulfillment. Everything that was once uncertain is now becoming clear. Everything that was once delayed is now arriving right on time. Everything that was once broken is now being restored. Because when God decides to move, nothing can stand in His way. And He has decided in your favor. You have endured. You have trusted, even when the evidence was not there. You have kept your faith, even when it felt like nothing was changing. And because of that, you are now stepping into the rewards of your endurance. It is written in Galatians chapter 6.9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Chosen one, your harvest is here. You are no longer the one who watches from the sidelines. You are no longer the one who waits while others receive. You are no longer the one who questions if God has forgotten you. Because He has not forgotten. Every tear you cried, He counted. Every prayer you whispered, He heard. Every moment you felt alone, He was there. And now, He is delivering on every promise. Look around you. The signs are everywhere. The doors are opening. The opportunities are presenting themselves. The right people are being drawn to you. And this time, you are ready. This is not the same cycle as before. This is not another false start. This is the real thing. The tables have turned. And now, the people who once doubted you will have no choice but to recognize what God has done in your life. The ones who walked away, they will return, but not to find you where they left you. They will find you elevated. The ones who dismissed you, they will now see what they overlooked. The ones who underestimated you, they will now witness the full power of God's favor over your life. But this time, you will not need their validation. Because you have already been validated by the only one who matters. You have already been chosen. And because of that, nothing can stop what is coming next. It is written in Revelation chapter 3.8, "See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." This is that door. This is that moment. The waiting season has officially ended. And now, you step forward, fully, boldly, completely, into the life God has always intended for you. No more fear. No more hesitation. No more questioning if you are ready. Because you are. And because you are, everything that has been written, everything that has been prepared, everything that has been waiting for you, is here. This is the moment where everything changes. This is your divine confirmation. Chosen one, walk into it.